hope you're having a good time. A small secret disclosure before we start. We have an agreement with the panel that there should be at least one joke during this discussion, so make sure you notice that. And if it's funny, please laugh, okay? So the topic is quite clear, I think, for everyone. Everybody's more or less aware about the word accelerator and what does it mean for any startup, especially the one that is in early stage. And here we have people who have been hands-on active in this accelerator world. Accelerator, to me, coming from academia, is a very nice word because I think about the progress, I think about the environment where people are learning, and it sounds like it is, a must-do in a way or no-regret decision for a startup. However, I realized that it's not for everyone. So today we'll try to touch both sides. What is good about it, why is it so attractive, and also what could go wrong. And of course, another thing that comes into my mind when I think about the accelerator is the success of Y Combinator. Okay, so it's a sort of when you imagine something that is very hard to get in, but once you get in, everything is done. The success is there, guaranteed. So let's talk about that as well, whether it's really truth. And finally, of course, what does it mean for us here, for this ecosystem? What could work, what shouldn't work, and of course, how special we are, because we here in Lithuania like to talk about our specialties. Okay?
Was that the joke?
Not yet. No one is laughing, but this was an attempt, number one.
What is an accelerator?
Yeah, exactly. Let's check. Everyone is here for the same panel? Yeah? Okay. Good. So let's start, and I'll start with the general question, which is a no-brainer, to be honest. So what is the benefit and what is the risk of an accelerator? And I will start with you, Alexandra. So kick it off, please.
Taking it off. I don't have yet the joke coming. It will come. So the benefit, I think for me, basically you always have to, there's always a price for anything. For all the good things that you have in life and for all the bad things that you have in life, there's always two sides of the coin. And I think if put it super simply, the best possible outcome of the accelerator, from my personal perspective, is not even the knowledge, which is a really good thing and one of the most important values, but also the community of people, of like-minded people that you can trust, that you can share your experience with. That's on the positive side. Yesterday I had a meeting with one of our portfolio founders who asked for a meeting because he's working with the employees, with his employees that they're not the owners. So of course there's a co-founder as well, but there's like employees are not the owners of the business. They're expecting the CEO to decide. Then his family is not in the, of course they've been supporting him for life, but they don't know the journey. And the friends are from different industries, so they don't understand. They see the success in the news, but they don't see the story behind. So he wanted to talk with someone who actually understands what it takes to be a founder. So accelerator, if you're going it, especially in the group of people, in the cohort of people, gives you this community of people who will understand what happens with you, what it takes to get anywhere, to get from 1 to 0, or at least from 1 to from 0 to 0.1, at least somewhere there. And then what it takes, you have to sacrifice something because it takes time. And if it takes time, you have to sacrifice, I don't know, family, friends, free time, sleep. You decide if you can spend time only on, I don't know, on the business, on your family, on your friends, or on your free time. You can choose only 2 or 3 max. Yeah. Something will fall.
Okay, we'll come back to what it takes to be successful when you are already into the accelerator. But Greta, maybe let's move to you. And when you think about the illustration of success of accelerator program, maybe you have some example that comes to your mind, the specific business startup that, captured the value.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when I reflect on the benefits of any accelerator program, I would be thinking about how can you get access to people and the knowledge that you wouldn't have access to otherwise, right? So one of the angles that we take at Katalista Ventures, we have one acceleration program which is mostly with the largest corporates in the region. And for us, the success there is hypotheses answered to the startup by the large client that they have, customer traction, and further investment. So we've had a really nice case study a while ago with one of the startups that we also ended up investing in, Earthbank, who worked with Swedbank and worked on their sustainability challenges, and therefore actually even they got some of the answers from the questions they had, even when not continuing the partnership with the company itself. They have successfully raised a 1.5 million round, and they are now scaling incredibly, and that was all kickstarted by a partnership driven by an accelerator program. And I think that's a really nice example.
Okay, great. So the role of the corporates, Leonardo, coming to you now, how essential and what kind of role does the participation of the corporate plays in accelerator, and looking especially from the point of view of the startup?
Absolutely. So I think that every accelerator has to be created according to the ecosystems and to the stakeholders like involved in the ecosystem and in the accelerator. So I think, for example, like at Plug and Play, so in Germany, like in Stuttgart, we started our accelerator program with like the role of the corporates just having a light mentorship in helping them helping the founders how to build the MVP and how like to frame the idea, etc. But when the ecosystem was maturing, so we saw that actually we started like verticalize like the accelerator, more focused on mobility and on the technical challenge of the founders, like in delivering the product. And so like we framed all the framework of the accelerator to deliver like POCs at the end of accelerator. So I think that in fact like the ingredient of an accelerator program are mainly two. So one is the people that you involve in the accelerator, and in our case, the corporate attendees are very, very important for our accelerator program, for the success of the founders to deliver the product, and the framework that should be adapted to the context and should be able like to deliver and capture the value of the people within the accelerator to create something new and something like a concrete for the companies.
So in your opinion and in the experience of Plug and Play in that model, who is the main beneficiary?
So I think the founders can have like a great experience to how to de-risk their assumptions directly with the corporates. So because like corporates are really, really in depth into the technologies, into the market, and can deliver like a great value when it comes to industry expertise or how to deliver like a technical problem on a public scale. And the corporate themselves, so they can get the value from the founders to involve like that new technologies in the current operations. And also, I would say that today we have seen many corporates that are starting like their CVC arms, and in the past they've seen, and also that today we've seen most of the corporates, they want to like run accelerator product themselves. So because they saw the value that are coming from founders and new technologies. And having, for example, corporations in the cap table of the founders can also give a certificate of quality
benefit.
Exactly, especially for specific industries.
All right, so we talked about what's good about it. Let's now flip the coin, and it's not the joke yet. let's now flip the coin and say, what can go wrong, Alexandra? What can go wrong? Maybe you have an example where it went wrong and we can learn from it.
You know, like we have currently more than 400 startups in the portfolio, and I have all of it. All of what can
Choose
go wrong.
the best one.
And especially it was a very special moment when the first startup was dying, and you're like, but I raised you. But yeah, but I will tell actually a fun story of what can go wrong, and it would be on our side, on the investor side, what was our mistake. So we got a startup that arrived to the batch physically with a bit of 1 week delay, pretty much. Because of the visa issues, they were coming outside of the EU. They had a little bit of delay, so they arrived 1 week later, they missed the onboarding as such. And they jumped straight to the content, and content on the second week was supposed to I don't know what's the English word, but basically to go to the essence of your why you're building what you're building. And this is what the question that all the investors of yours are asking. You probably know the rule of 5. You have to ask 5 times to get to some inner feeling. And we're making a lot of investments and a lot of investment decisions. So we're making decisions fast. We asked our why, but then there was a workshop on like why exactly. And then after that workshop, the founders, so they arrived. That's the first day, and they went through the workshop. And then they asked to talk with me, saying, hey, this is an extremely awesome accelerator. We really enjoy this extremely great experience, this 4 hours of the workshop. We quit. We will not run our business anymore. So we are leaving the program. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. We're leaving. They were building an e-commerce sales-based e-commerce solution to drive e-commerce sales. I said, okay, but why? Why you're leaving? Like, what's the problem? So we're like, we feel that we want to help men to talk with women.
Yeah, the new idea.
So we found our why finally over this essence.
Sounds like the most efficient accelerator
it is
ever.
the most efficient 4 hours in our lives. They left.
Okay.
Yeah. So what can go wrong? You have to before going somewhere and before taking any investments, you probably have to. Those guys didn't take the They didn't have time to take the investments yet. But pretty much you can. One of the things to be aware that talking more on the serious side, that you can actually break the team. The team can break through the program. There are different accelerators with different intensity. In our case, there's a lot of content and a lot of intensity. And we saw teams breaking through during the program because they were not aligned on the why, they were not aligned on the values, and they couldn't go through the pressure.
But do the new teams then appear? Do they form the new teams?
We are talking about the negative experience.
Okay.
So not everyone,
Okay.
not everyone.
So looking from the positive side, it tests also the resilience of a team.
Yes,
All
absolutely. And obviously, if you find your why faster over 4 hours of intense workshop, that's a lot of saved time.
Okay, so it's advice, it's community, it's a test of your own resilience. Greta, what could you add to the failure list?
We had
Failure
also
buckets.
teams that broke, actually. And we literally launched an accelerator yesterday, starting with Y, which is one of the catalyzers. So we see the similarity
So how many
there.
left?
None
Okay.
yet. Let's see. But I'm glad that a lot of them are here and listening to you also saying that that's super important. So that's great. I think maybe something that was not mentioned is also a little bit from the other side, from even the accelerator side, and also for the founder to have in mind the mindset with which you come into the program. So I have also had personal experience when mentoring someone, and just every single time we speak, I have this know-it-all attitude from a person who you're speaking to. So if you feel like you know it all, you shouldn't go to an accelerator, right? Like you are going there to get insight and get feedback. So that is something that is super important. And if you have that kind of attitude, then it becomes like really difficult to work with the person. And we've had some confrontations based on that. But so that I think is super important from the negative side, and also accelerators may be a waste of your time if the accelerator is focusing on something that's not your focus, right? So we are an impact accelerator. If a startup wouldn't care at all or do a little bit of a greenwashing pitch to us, I mean, we spot it immediately, or if we haven't by some chance and you came into our accelerator, what will you do there? We are talking about impact as a core theme in everything that we do. So it's choosing a wrong accelerator would also be another one.
Okay, Leonardo, what about you? In what case you would tell the founder not to go there?
I mean, so especially when we work with corporations, so especially if the product is too early, for example, like because like in a lot of locations, so at Plug and Play we work with stage agnostic like accelerators. So where like the corporate component is very important because like they are the objective is to create POCs and create like real value between like in the relationships between the corporate and startup. So. And what is important there is the role of the mentors and the role of the business units. So on the corporate side especially, so that might be like someone that is not really much open like to work with startups or like to involve the business unit and to be the sponsor of this collaboration. So that might be like really important. And for example, like in our case, we saw that many corporates were not maybe not the right like mindset to work with startups. And on the founder side, maybe like joining the accelerator when they are too early. So especially in a lot of locations, we saw that they are super early, but for this kind of program that is mainly focused on POCs.
Oh, I see. So it could be too early. Can it be too late?
Can it be too late? Yes, because like especially when it comes to like growth stage companies, so like their goal is to get to the next milestone and to reach the metrics, and so it can be perceived as a waste of time.
However, I would just add that yes, probably it can be too late because everything can be a little bit not a fit. But from the experience, which to me was quite surprising, the most value that we see from the gratitude from the program, we saw from the mature founders, from the ones that were doing businesses before, that were running, that had the startup before. I would explain it, and then like the first-time founders, many times, not always, because it obviously depends on the personality, on the human, but sometimes the first-time founders expect this like magic pill. So that, okay, if we went to the acceleration program, there will be, okay, we will know everything and then we will raise the money. Talking about the YC, there's a perception that if you get there, like everything is magic, but only like 30% or something started from YC raised the next round. So it's not everything, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, right? So there's specific statistics.
It's a very harsh selection that makes it successful. Yeah,
absolutely. And so to the point is that I think it depends on the human ability to extract value and to learn. And the more mature you are, the more you understand that you actually can get the value from pretty much anything if you know what to focus and how to get it, and you're not expecting things just to happen to you.
All right. We didn't touch upon the money, but sometimes accelerators also serve as investors. Yeah. So, Alexandra, maybe in your experience, how do you compare accelerator that is making an investment versus pre-seed fund?
Let's talking about these positive and negative things. I'm obviously biased, so I mean.
Try to be objective.
But
now this was a joke, yeah. Try to be objective.
Try, but I will put it this way. I honestly believe in this parallel. Think of it as an MBA in a way. Obviously, it's different. But will a person be successful if a person doesn't have an MBA? Probably yes. Why
Yes.
not? It's possible. Will the person have more network, more connections, and more opportunities if someone will get the MBA? Probably yes. So it doesn't mean that if you don't go there, you won't succeed. It's not directly correlated, but it's a tool. It's a tool and an opportunity. And of course, talking back to what Greta said as well, that if you're not ready to learn, if you know everything, it will be a clash, because accelerators as such are built on criticism, on
right.
giving feedback,
On testing things, yeah.
on fixing things, on saying, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Pre-seed investor, whatever, investor would have meetings with you, will probably give will not probably, but will give the feedback, etc. But the accelerator as such, it's a time framed. It's an activity that has a time frame in which the whole feedback is squeezed, and like you have to process a lot of information over a very specific period of time.
So we need to be very
ready.
open. All right, Greta, so if we move on and we talk about accelerators, we have the big names that everybody knows, that thinks this is all very nice, successful, and then we have the other ones, and especially talking about European ones, what do you think is a path of development? What can they do better? What can they do more of to be even more successful?
Yeah, I think, of course, it's super difficult to compete with the big brands, right? Because they speak for themselves. It's just cool to have it on LinkedIn.
Yes.
However, if you as a founder have a particular problem or challenge, you may look for an accelerator that helps you solve that particular challenge, right? So then we start talking about the niche accelerators with some sort of verticals. So I think you've talked on this stage also about health tech and like other things, right? We ourselves are working with impact. So impact already, like when we started 6 years ago, it was super tiny niche. Right now, impact is becoming very broad as well. But still getting the insight into the exact ecosystem. For example, we are getting a lot of startups who are two kinds of startups, really. One kind is like very businessy, wants to scale. And another one is like very impact driven. And they, what they want to do is what we want to do. We want both of them to be able to, for example, fundraise from impact funds. And in order to do that and take that, I think right now it's like 1.1 trillion funds and impact investment, right? So if you want to get that money, you need to speak that language. You need to speak like all the taxonomies, regulations, CBRDs, like all of these things, life cycle assessments, all of these things. And getting there is not easy, and you need support. So having that vertical niche concentration on certain topics, I think that is something that could be done for the smaller brands of accelerators.
All right, so specialization, focus on something, and then, of course, a good matchmaking, because they need to find each other.
For sure, for sure.
All right, Leonardo, so Plug and Play has gotten a lot of locations, a lot of regions, and then when you think about the Baltics, what do you think is the magic house of the Baltics? What should it look like, and to make it a success? Is it specialized, as Greta is suggesting? Maybe if someone needs a specialized one. Is it more general because of the market size? What ideas come to your mind when you try to make the architecture of this magic house?
So like being here and look at this audience, so I would say that you can get a taste of how the ecosystem is. It's very well connected. This mall is very vibrant. You can perceive it. And I think that, for example, like the recent success and the companies, the unicorn companies like Vinted, North Security, and almost unicorns like Kevin, PVKs, that can be like the house of a second generation of founders. So, but like in these ecosystems, I believe that an accelerator should capture the value that it will come from future generation of founders that will spin out from these companies. And sure, I think that it might be like more universal as possible in terms of industry. But in the Baltics, I think like one of the main challenges is to create like a global company And so, like, to attract customers from other countries or investments from other geographies, from overseas or the rest of Europe. And I feel like the house of, so the accelerator of a region like this, for a country like Lithuania, should help the founders to bridge the gap between other countries and to find other customers and other investments abroad. And so
outwards oriented, looking at the global market rather than staying here. I think this is a common problem oftentimes, that we're so much in love with our local country and our local market that we don't dare to spend time on other markets. Okay, so time is running fast. We still didn't have a joke, so now let's make a round of jokes. Or
I tried.
More.
There were 3 people laughing.
All right, sorry. Then we qualify it as a joke.
Dalius, on the notion of the small country, yesterday we had a really nice dinner, and there was a foreign person, and she said, I think the Baltics are like, you go to one and you get 3 for 1 price.
All right, that's very nice.
There you go.
3 for the price of 1. That's a good joke. Okay, wrapping up. Okay, if you would have a billboard on the street that everyone is crossing, and everyone happens to be all the startup founders, and you only have a place for 5 words, 1 sentence on that billboard, as a message to a founder who is thinking whether to join or not to join, what to do, what would be your message? Who's first? Leonardo? I see you have it.
I would say that the founders should choose an accelerator to the risk, the assumptions when they started the business.
Okay. So the main value, in your opinion, is de-risking the assumptions, making it fast.
Yes.
Okay.
Accelerators should help the founders to fail faster in order to get the right path as soon as possible.
So one of the values you hear is accelerating your failure. Alexandra?
If it is not fun, it's not worth it.
All right. Very good. I guess many relate, but not always. Greta?
I would say scale your impact through the network you get.
Scaling for the network. So network, ability to test and fail, and having fun. Maybe some stories to start off. One short story about the fun part of accelerators. Who has a story about the fun?
We were discussing if to put in our values on the company website tequila.
Okay, good, great. So I hope it was useful for the audience, that everyone who has doubts will make their minds up. And also, please know these people. You know them by face now, by name. Approach them, talk to them, because they know what they are talking about. So thank you guys very much. It was a pleasure to discuss with you, and have fun.
Thank you.